I'm sitting here at the heater today because it's really cold. I'm still in northern Germany, and here it just gets really cold, or it stays really cold, however you wanna put it. Yeah, but I promised to make more content, and I really have something that I want to share today. I want to talk about domestic violence. So, again, some of you who might remember my channel remember that I once was married. Right now, I'm not anymore. And I'm not going to get into why not. At least not right now, not right here. Maybe in another video. But I do want to say, or I do want to talk about domestic violence and a few key things to keep in mind when it comes to domestic violence, because I feel like in society, we're kind of drifting away from that. So the first thing is domestic violence is real. I know that there are a lot of women out there who lie about it, who say, who me too, say things that are not really happening to them, or exaggerate situations, or maybe even cause and trigger situations. And all of that is happening. And there are men that are innocent and that are accused of something that they have not done, or are being accused of something. But at the same time, domestic violence still happens, and it is still very real. And sometimes in the most unexpected constellations and situations. There are couples that are very young, where you would never think that right now while I'm saying it, I'm thinking of Chris Brown and Rihanna when they were really young. So very young people, that age and younger, when they were younger, experienced domestic violence. Or couples where you think that they're perfect, they're always happy when you see them, they're so successful or whatever, they have beautiful kids, they always dress so nice, they're everything that you think you want to be. But in reality, they're going through things that you do not know of. And then when things come out, people don't want to believe them. People don't want to believe the woman because the man is so nice. He has such a good heart. He's so open. He talks so nicely. He's so talented. He's so good looking. He's so whatever it is. And that might have been the reason why she didn't come forth in the first place for a long time, because she knew nobody is going to believe her. So please keep in mind, despite there may be people out there who call wolf and they are lying about it, and we find out that they're lying about it. There's a huge number of people, of women, who are actually going through it. And the most interesting thing about that is that a lot of women, as I said, don't talk about it. Once they come forward, their female friends will also talk about it. They will be saying, oh wow, me too. Actually, I have been going through this too, but I just felt too afraid to say anything. And I think that is a problem. I think it's a problem that women aren't believed. And I'm not saying believe all women, but I'm saying, at least hear her out and figure out if there's a reason why she should be lying about it. Because the worst thing is if you're in a situation where you are a woman, where you're really trying to do your best, you notice that he has a short temper, you just want to make sure everything is peaceful at home, and you do everything to keep the peace. You want to stay with him because you have kids and whatever. And, any word that you say, anything that you do could trigger a fight or violence. And as I said, you just really try to do your best. And then at some point you realize it's enough, because if I stay, he might kill me one day. Then you leave and people want to point the finger at you and say you did something wrong. There's nothing worse than that. So don't be that person. The other thing that comes to mind when I think of domestic violence is that if he hits, and I'm mainly talking about male abusing female. I know that there are other versions, but I don't know much about them, so I'm not talking about them. While acknowledging that they are real, I have no experience with that. Not even secondhand, or no type of experience with that. When a man hits you once, I would recommend leave right away. Don't wait and see if he's going to do it again, because most likely he will, because you staying signals to him that it's okay, One thing that you can do is if he's really sorry, ask him to do therapy. do some type of therapy, talk to family members, like for him to be able to open up about it to others, whether it is in a therapy session or to family members or to friends, or, him not trying to keep it secret, but to admitting that it was wrong in front of others, in front of you and in front of others. That may be a good sign for him to really feel like, oh no, I really don't want to do this again. But if he's kind of hush hush about it and don't want to tell anyone about it, or if he, after a day or two or a week, try to turn it around on you and say, well, you were too loud, or you were, you shouldn't have said that, or, something you, then it might be best to just leave him right away. Don't wait. I know it can be really challenging, especially if you have a life together, if you have children together, if you are not just, boyfriend and girlfriend, but you're actually a married couple. I know it's not so easy to do it, but eventually, if that's his response, if there's no remorse, then you have to leave, or else he's going to kill you. Because usually these things do not end well. Men who find it okay to beat their wives and do it over and over again, so many unintentional killings happen in those situations, sometimes even intentional killings. So yeah, I recommend, if he does it once and is not remorseful, leave. And the last thing I want to mention today about domestic violence, that sometimes it's really tricky. Sometimes when you meet someone, you would never ever think that they are going to become violent towards you. So it's nothing that you could kind of detect within the first 6 months, maybe not even within the first year or 2 or 3. I've known women who've been in relationships with men for 7 years, and then after the 7th year, he started beating her. And then in the most violent way, that she had to call the police and had to go to the hospital because he almost killed her and the kids and all these kind of things. So that is the scariest part about it, that I don't know if there are any telltale signs to be like, oh, if he does that, then, because oftentimes, at least in my experience with people, these men are very charismatic. They're not the typical, aggressive type guy who always jumps up when he hears something. They're very charismatic. They're very friendly, seem very calm, very intelligent even, very educated. Again, the type where everyone says, I would have never thought it. And just as you, as his partner, you would have never thought it, So I'm not saying be aware and be careful with your partner, but I guess certain things, when he's not able to communicate about certain things, when he refuses to communicate about certain things, if he easily gets irritated about certain things, and if he gets very jealous and controlling about certain things, jealous without a reason, not because you have a lot of male friends that you flirt with, or that you're flirty with people all the time, or that you dress very revealing. Jealous without a reason, just no reason. Someone comes up to you, like it's not even your fault. Someone comes up to you and says, you're really beautiful. And you say, oh, thank you. That's all. And then in that moment he smiles and he's fine. But then you go home and then he beats you up. Even though it wasn't, you didn't do anything. It's not even funny, but that happens. So I know a story of a couple. They are musicians, right? They went on a tour. And she told me how, when you're on stage together, you perform together, you dress up nicely, you might put on some makeup, whatever. Nice doesn't necessarily mean revealing, but it just means you make yourself look presentable. And they were hanging out there, and there were other musicians as well. It was like a concert with different artists, like a festival or something like that. And another one of the artists, when they were hanging out backstage, they were saying hi to each other and, oh, I love your music and I love your style and I love you this and I love you, just being cordial and stuff to each other. And to the point where the ones with more followers would be like, let's take pictures and then I'll post it and, my people will see your people, or my people will see you, basically. So she told me how one of these other performers was taking a picture of her. And I don't remember if he asked her to take the picture or if he just took the picture, but he took a picture of her and then he posted it on his Instagram and, tagging the name of the band and referring to their music and stuff like that. And she wasn't, like, she didn't say, take a picture of me, or she wasn't posing for the picture, even though whether or not, if she would have posed for the picture, it wouldn't, I don't think it would have mattered, but she didn't. So she wasn't really involved in the whole process. He just did. And then after he did, he told her and them, like, he showed both of them, like, look, I took a picture and posted it, and hope it's okay. And her husband, he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. They were both like, yeah, cool. But once they got into the hotel room, he started beating her up and saying it was her fault, and that she posed and pushed up her chest, and I don't know, some weird stuff. And so the thing that I'm trying to say is, he might not start beating you up right in the first even 3 years maybe, but you might notice certain patterns about him. And one thing definitely, even though I don't like this term being thrown around so much, but narcissism is real. And some men, some women are really have narcissistic behaviors. So not just because I don't like someone, he's a narcissist, but because they always think the whole world, or including you, owe them something. And whatever they do is your fault. Like, whatever they do and doesn't go right is your fault. And they always want to gaslight you and twist the things that you say into something you didn't say, and constantly do these things. Then I would, if you notice that after a year maybe, the earlier the better, but if you notice these things, I would be very, very careful, because that behavior usually just gets worse over time. It doesn't always have to end up in violence, but it usually ends up in something nasty and something disgusting and something annoying and something painful, whether physically or mentally, spiritually, whatever. So those are definitely the things that I would look out for when it comes to domestic violence. I pray that none of you who is watching this ever experiences such a thing. If you do, or if you know someone who does, help them. And if you do yourself, like, share it, tell someone. Be there for the person, whether or not you believe them right away, be there for the person. And if it's you yourself, seek help as soon as possible, before it's too late. Because before you know, sometimes it's too late. These things happen. Women being thrown out of the window, women being burnt alive, women being just, killed by their husband, So get help right now before it's too late. Thanks for listening.